SAFEDEFEND addresses three critical components of an active killer event: prevention, notification, and response. Unlike any other system, we look at what happens before, during, and after an active killer event. The safety environment of a school is critical to academic success. Making the right choice on how to protect students may be the most important decision a superintendent and board can make. So how does SAFEDEFEND work? SAFEDEFEND uses world-class training that follows the same approach developed by the FBI's legendary behavioral science unit. Our courses offer education and training grounded in evidence-based research and best practices to successfully prevent violence and effectively respond to threats. Activating the SAFEDEFEND system immediately notifies law enforcement, SROs, teachers, staff, administration, and a nationwide monitoring company. These alerts pinpoint the exact location of a security breach, saving valuable seconds. Our device can be mounted in every room and require just a fingerprint to activate. Access to the system is controlled, eliminating the chances of any false alarms. With the touch of a finger, your facility can be locked down within seconds, and help will be on the way. Notification systems that rely on phones, apps, intercoms, radios, or lanyards can all fail during a crisis. Wireless solutions are notoriously unreliable and may require fine motor skills to operate. Apps have very low compliance. We focus on taking human error out of the equation. It is important to know that law enforcement will not arrive in time. There will always be a delay between notifying law enforcement and the arrival of first responders. As difficult as it might sound, staff and students need to know how to stay alive until help arrives. Nobody ever wants to believe the worst could happen to them, but it can. SAFEDEFEND knows how to prepare for the worst. We prepare your team to help prevent the threat, notify others, and respond effectively. With this training, staff won't be caught unprepared for a crisis. They will have the tools and knowledge to take action and stay alive until help arrives.
Well, Jeff, that is an incredible summation of what we're talking about today on SAFEDEFEND Live, the state of school safety. And I know you went to a conference last week in Las Vegas. And let's talk about what you learned while you were there and what we need to tell parents and administrators so their kids are safe at school as we start this new school year.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the great things about that conference, not only that it was in Las Vegas, but in addition, it was solely focused on school safety. So it was really a great opportunity for us, not only to be out front and an opportunity to talk with emergency managers, police chiefs, school district safety personnel, but it really gave us the opportunity to really see what else is out there in the school safety space. What new and unique things are out there. Who else is really out there trying to make a difference. And what really stood out is the vast majority of those companies are probably less than 2 years old. And I will venture that most of those companies probably won't be here at the next conference. So there were a lot of things that came up from it. There's a lot of AI, gun detection, threat detection from an AI perspective, which I think there's some value in that, except it's really not any more of an enhancement than a notification that someone from putting eyes on someone with a gun is going to have. You're really not helping manage that crisis. At the very beginning of our video, you see Covenant Elementary staff were on their own for 11 minutes. And that's when lives are lost. It wasn't when law enforcement showed up and did that fantastic job there. It was that 11 minutes before they were able to get in that building and take care of the situation. And a lot of mapping solutions are out there. Those have emergency operation planning benefits, but they are not going to be a benefit in a crisis moment. You're not going to have officers be able to read a map, find a dot, navigate a building by a map during a crisis moment when they're stressed, when the entire moment is the fog of war of that moment, basically. So there was some other unique stuff. Amazon's in the space with some pretty interesting and very expensive AI and camera solutions. But still, it was validation for us because still no one is out there addressing the time when lives are lost, except SAFEDEFEND.
Yeah, and what's interesting, I think you and I talked about it earlier this week, is that because of the way other systems are developed, there's been kind of a oversaturation for the police department, and maybe a little bit of Little Red Riding Hood syndrome, where police are not responding as fast because of the number of false alarms that they're getting from systems. How does SAFEDEFEND differentiate itself from that? Because I know they do. And what is the impact to the safety of children at school when police know the alarm is real?
Yeah, absolutely. One of a more popular solution that's out there is a lanyard-based solution, and they are notification only. They don't provide any training, any ability to navigate that crisis management side of things. Nothing on the prevention side of things. It's purely a notification and or kind of a student management type solution. And the feedback really was pretty powerful from our perspective, in the sense that there are a lot of false alarms with those solutions. And you call it the red riding syndrome, but law enforcement refers to it as alarm fatigue. Yep. And talk to any officer who has responded to a burglar alarm going off in an empty facility. About the third time that happens, the response is different. It really is. So, for several reasons, you can't have false alarms in this space. Not only does it change response from law enforcement, it also greatly impacts the mental health of your school community. You do not want that false alarm going out. You do not want staff to have to believe that they are in the middle of a crisis when they are not. And so it provides a wave of negative impact anytime there's a false alarm in this type of space. And that's why SAFEDEFEND really has created the biometric accessible side of things, where only authorized users can set the system off. We know who set the system off. We know exactly where they set the system off. And so it really takes that false alarm down to almost zero.
Well, the interesting thing about this, and I'm going to compare this to the fire alarm, right?
Sure.
If you go into a school or a commercial building, there is a fire alarm, there are fire extinguishers, there are fire hoses, right? So you have a way to notify, and you have a way to protect the school inside the school until the fire department gets there.
Absolutely.
Why does this solution seem so hard when SAFEDEFEND is the same thing? You have an alarm and you have tools to protect the children. Is it that simple? Am I missing something?
No, it truly is that simple. And if you look at the results of implementing, fire suppression systems, fire extinguishers, fire alarms, we have taken school fire injuries and deaths down to zero since 1958 of any serious impact. Now, that doesn't mean there's not an occasional fire in the chemistry lab or the but the impact on the human toll of that has gone to really zero for any sort of injury or death for approaching 60 years, 70 years now. So it is that simple. It really is that simple. Notification immediately. And it's not silent. You would not want a silent fire alarm to be going out. Alyssa's law, which is great in intent, adds that silent component, which is absolutely the antithesis to best practice. I mean, it is. You do not want a silent alarm in a crisis situation, whatever that crisis situation is. You want people responding immediately, doing what they need to do. So the fire alarm side of things, instant notification, everybody knows you have the ability to respond, whether from the fire suppression system built into the building or the ability to grab a fire extinguisher. And it absolutely has made a difference. And this is the same concept that we need to apply to active shooter, which is now a much bigger threat to our students than a fire is.
That's a true statement, a very fair statement. Here's my other question and concern. Why are we making this so hard? I mean, so we're bringing AI into it. We're bringing sensors into it. I'll use that term for my military background. We're bringing sensors into it, but we don't have highly trained individuals managing those sensors and directing the command and control piece. So from my concern, my thought, I guess, when I think about this is, if we have these highly complicated sensors in a high stress environment with untrained individuals, how is that ever going to be effective in the school safety space? I mean, we're talking about teachers. Their job is to teach kids. We're talking about students under the age of 18 that their life experience isn't too vast in dealing with stuff like this. I mean, how do we change the reality that a new toy isn't going to fix this? We need to keep it simple, stupid. And we need to put
Absolutely.
things in place and secure the room and give teachers a chance to defend themselves. Am I missing something?
Nope, not at all. In fact, that is really the whole premise of SAFEDEFEND is that KISS model that you just talked about. And law enforcement needs that as well. Too much information is just as detrimental as not enough in a crisis moment. And getting them, the location information they need, the entry point that they need, the ability to get where they need to be, keeping the crisis management aspect of it simple, effective, and doable from a teacher standpoint. You're exactly right. Teachers didn't sign up for this. This is not what they wanted to go and do in life, or they would have become law enforcement, military, whatever the case may be. And many of them have the military background, but that's still, they got into teaching because they love kids. They want to make a difference. That's their passion, and they shouldn't have to approach education from a military approach or a overburdening approach. The solution to keeping them alive, keeping their students alive, needs to be managed to a level where it only impacts them when they need it, not during their day-to-day, not during when they're trying to teach kids. They need a solution that's easy, workable, and manageable, and there when they need it. It's that insurance principle, right? You don't ever want to have to use it, but you're damn glad it's there. SAFEDEFEND sits on the wall. It's available, but it's not going to take away from their mission, which is educating kids.
Did we learn anything else interesting at the conference that's helpful for parents and teachers as we step into the fall about what we can do to help keep our kids safe?
Yeah, absolutely. And SAFEDEFEND is really focused on, we've cracked the code on what is an effective school safety response, and managing 4 pillars is what we're calling them right now, which is the prevention side, which absolutely will be the best aspect to keeping kids alive and not having any sort of events take place. Preventing, of course, by logic says, hey, look, if we can prevent it, everybody's going to go home that night. So prevention is key. Then you have preparation. That's the training, the drills, putting in layers, putting in notification, being able to navigate that aspect, and just being prepared, just like we run fire drills, just like we do weather drills. Having that as part of our school year, and it doesn't have to be intrusive. It just just needs to be part of our practice. But then if, God forbid something happens, we have to be able to have that internal response, which is how do we manage that crisis on our own until law enforcement can get there. And then we also have to make law enforcement as effective as possible in their response, getting them to the situation as quickly as possible with as much information as they need to be able to take care of that situation. So those are the 4 key pillars. 2 of them are on the proactive side, which is the prevention and preparation, and 2 of them are on the reactive side, which is the internal response and external response. And fulfilling all 4 of those components is really what is going to make a difference in school safety. And SAFEDEFEND is the only company right now that focuses on helping schools navigate that formula and put in place the solutions that are going to make a difference on those 4 pillars. And no other company does that. And we've seen it over and over again where notification alone is not enough.
Well, what I love about SAFEDEFEND and the direction you're headed right now, and I'm just going to brag a little bit on what you guys have done, is that you guys are attacking the root cause, right? The preparation and prevention piece, the threat assessment. You're building tools for schools so they can track kids that are struggling and get them the help they need before it escalates to violence. We stop it. We stop it before it happens. That makes the systems not necessary if we can get to where teachers can see kids and identify a challenge and then get them the help they need now, so their frustration doesn't come out in a violent act, right? That's super exciting for me.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest threat is someone within the building, right? And so if we can prevent that from taking place within the building, that is absolutely 1,000% a win all the way around. If we can intervene early enough that someone in crisis, someone with a grievance is not going to carry that out to a violent response, of course, that's a win all the way around. The thing we can't control in those types of environments is the person from the outside. And that's when you really need to be able to manage that preparation and response side as well. If someone is coming in from the outside or former student who's no longer, you have that ability to intervene, or if that grievance gets under the radar and gets to the point where they do come in and want to enact violence, you have to be able to respond effectively on the reactive side as well. So absolutely, if we can prevent it, that is goal number one. That is 100% what we need to do. And we've got the team in place and the systems in place that really help schools be able to navigate that with threat intervention programs, behavioral analysis, understanding offender behaviors, solutions to intervene. But then we also are able to really help, keep that school safe, regardless of what happens outside of that ability to intervene in that threat.
Well, Jeff, great work by you and the entire team at SAFEDEFEND. I'm super excited for the future. And if you're out there and you feel like your school does not have the devices and the training it needs, please reach out to us. We have a great training academy. We have a great tools for your school, and we have a way to help you sleep better at night as a parent, teacher, and leader in the school district.
Absolutely.
Jeff, thanks for sharing with me today. I appreciate it.
Hey, you bet. Great time. Enjoy the lake.
It's Friday, Jeff. It's Lake Friday. I've got to work out here this weekend.
Hey, not judging. I'm not mad at all.
Come on down and hang out.
Sounds good. Hey, have a great weekend.
You too.